Hello and welcome back to Spoken English. Today we're talking about some connecting words. Um, I would like to firstly apologize about the lateness today. I am well aware that it's 5 minutes late, but we had a few technical difficulties, and I know there's always seems to be technical difficulties, but it's just how it goes sometimes when you're working on the internet, you know. There's quite often some technical issues going on there. But we're here, and that's what matters. So, how are we all? Tell me how you are and how the weather is in your country this week. Mm. In England. Oh, great. Another technical difficulty. My headphone is running out of battery. Let me just charge it as I speak. 1 second.
Yeah. In England, the weather it looks quite warm today, actually, but recently it's been it's been getting a little bit cooler. We had a really hot day the other day, but other than that, it's been just chill, like it's been a bit windy. I call it kind of just nice weather, it's not too hot, not too cold. It's just something in the middle, but I don't want summer to go because I mean, autumn's okay, but last thing I want it to be is winter too quickly. Like winter's nice, but I know that I spend a lot of the year waiting for it to be hot again. So yeah, let me know how you doing, guys. Sorry, guys, very thirsty. There we are. And also let me know if you can't hear me, because that would be an issue. Just give me 1 second here. I'm going to upload the things that we're doing this week. I have them here. Here we are. Just 1 second. Okay. Sweet. So I've now uploaded the files for today's lessons. And yeah, we can get straight into it, guys. We have 6 people here. And I can just start the lesson. That'd be perfect. Hello, Michelle. The weather is cloudy and sunny. I hope you're doing well. I am doing well. I hope you're doing well. And I'm glad that it's sunny. Maybe not cloudy, but I'm glad that it's sunny for you. Hello, Claudine. I'm connected from the south of France. Oh, I bet it's nice. Yeah, I was about to say, well, if you're about to say it's freezing cold, but it always seems to be hot in the south of France. This morning, and now it's cloudy, and the rain will be welcome. Yeah, no, I'm sure. I'm sure if it's too hot, then you're kind of waiting for some rain, I guess. Bit more water. I mean, it doesn't look like water, but it's actually squash. I know in some countries they don't have squash. So if you're wondering what squash is, it's basically this. We call it cordial as well. You add a little bit of it. It's very strong, and then you add the rest water, and it kind of flavors the water. It makes it a really nice kind of. It's not too strong, but it's a really nice drink that I like to drink a lot. All right, I will get started. Okay, so our most important connecting words in English. It's quite a big one today, so we will power through it. We will just I'm going to read through it, and then we can have a chat about each of the words a little bit. But I'm not going to linger too much on each one, as we have 9 pages to go through. Kefir, what is kefir? Let me know. This is, I actually don't, you know what? I think this one's Robinson's. But I drink this certain squash so often, and I actually don't know what the name of the brand is. It's how it goes sometimes, like you use something so often and have no idea who the heck made it. But no, this one is Robinson's. They do a good squash. What is kefir? If you can let me know. Okay, so let's just get started, shall we? First up, we have and. Pretty much like the most common joining word in English. And is used when we are connecting 2 parts of a sentence that have equal value in the sentence. So I like apples and oranges. So adds an idea to another, pretty much equal value. It's not any worse, any better, any more important, any less important. It's just as much. This and that, this and that. You see? Number 2, we have but. So but is used when we've made one statement or one question or something like this, and then we want to show how something could change what we know of that. You see? So I wanted to go out, but it was raining. So going out is what you want to do in the beginning. This is your first clause of the sentence. This is like what you want to do. And then the but clause, like the second part, is it shows how something contrasts. It shows how something opposes the first part. You see? Okay. Number 3, or. So when we use or, we use this one to show that there is some kind of choice between two things. So if I wanted to ask you if you want either one of these, I could say, would you like this or that? So there's a choice between this or that. I'm showing the choice there. So if you want to show the choice between things, you could say, oh, I like this or that. Pretty much, like for any kind of noun. Or, yeah, so you can use that to show a choice. Number 4, we have so. So we actually, funnily enough, quite often we will use so as something to go into something. So this is what that means, you see. But yeah, it basically shows the result of something. So and actually, funnily enough, so is a word that I have to try and not use as much, because quite often I find myself repeating so a lot. But yeah, so she was tired, so she went to bed. It shows the result of something. So she's tired. This is our first clause. And then our so clause is the outcome of that. The reason, like what the outcome of her being tired was. She was tired. The outcome is that she went to bed. You see? Okay. Next up, we have for. For shows the reason for something. So similar to because. So there's a reason why something is happening. He left early for he had an appointment. This isn't used as much in modern day English. I think this is quite a old-fashioned way of using for. We quite often use for if we want to say, oh, I got a present for you. This is like you were the person that this is intended. Pardon me. You are the person that this is intended for. It is for you. But back in the day, and I mean, you could still use it now, it would be more common to say he left early for he had an appointment, because he had an appointment. You see? Number 6, we have nor. It doesn't even sound like an English word when you hear it on its own, but we use this if we are connecting two negative ideas. So two things that are negatives, you see. So she doesn't like coffee, nor does she like tea. So nor is saying she doesn't like something, and she doesn't like this too. She doesn't like this as well. But we can use nor here. She doesn't like coffee, nor does she like tea. Okay. Number 7, yet. So yet introduces a surprising contrast. So the weather was cold, yet they went swimming. So even though the weather was cold, they went swimming. So it's a surprising contrast of this is one thing, but it doesn't matter because they still did this. You see? Okay, so let's go back and have a look at some of our red words before we move on. Well, breathe, James, before we move on, shall we? So our red words are words that are quite easily mispronounced in English. We like to repeat our red words and kind of improve our pronunciation, and also to gain some more vocabulary. And it's just good practice, It's really, really good practice. So repeat after me and try and get every syllable exactly the same as I do, and just try and replicate how I sound, even if it sounds a bit strange in your own voice. It's good practice in kind of building that accent if you want to build a British accent, you see. Oh. So number one is or. Or. Notice how in British English we don't say or. We're not pronouncing the R. It's just or. You're not even moving your mouth. Or. Okay. Tea. Tea. Coffee. Coffee. So. So. For. For. Once again, it's not for in British English. It's for or. It's literally a kind of your that sound. If you can make that it's a very quick staccato sound and then you can or like from that lengthen it a bit or for, and that's how we do it. If you're finding yourself making the R sound, the R, then if you want to build a British English accent, you want to practice not pronouncing the R, and you want to just make it an or sound. You see? And that happens quite a lot in English. Even look at the next one here. Nor. It's not nor in British English. It's nor or. Nor. Great. And that's a good one to practice, guys, because the more you practice it, the more it is likely to enter your natural speech, you see? Okay. Number two, linking words that show relationships. So these words help us to show that how one idea is related to another. They can show time, cause, condition, and more. So number one, we have because. So because tells us why something happens, you see? So swap these over because my headphone will run out soon. Yeah, so it tells us why something happened. So she stayed at home because she was sick. So our first clause is she stayed at home. Why did she stay at home? Because she was sick. So because is the answer to why, pretty much. So she stayed at home. Why did she stay at home? Because she was sick. Number two, although. So although shows a contrast. So although it was late, she kept working. So the first clause is although it was late, so it was late. So you wouldn't expect her to be at work, you'd expect her to be at home. But no, there's a contrast here. He kept working. Although it was late, he kept working. There we are. Next up, we have when. So connects an action to a time. So call me when you arrive. So call me when you arrive. So we're here we're giving a time frame of when someone should call you. So call me when you get to the shop. Call me when you arrive is a time. So we're connecting an action to a time. Yeah, as it says here. So calling is the action, and when and whatever you want them to call you, whenever you want them to call you, you will then add onto the end. Number four, if. So if introduces a condition. So you may have looked at the conditionals in English. If you haven't, then I would advise you to go after this to go check those out because those are some very interesting things to study, and we have some things at ISpeakSpokeSpoken English that you can have a look at and learn those conditionals because they will enrich in your English ability and they will help you to be able to express yourself a lot clearer in certain contexts, of course. Here we are. So if it rains, we will cancel the picnic. If it rains, we will cancel the picnic. So this is our first conditional in English. So here it is basically, if something happens now, this is what will happen. So We don't know if this will happen now. There's a likelihood of it, so there's a likelihood of it raining, and if it does rain, this is what we will do. So it's a cause and effect, you see. Since is our next one here. So this can show time or reason. So we've been friends since school. We've been friends since school. Yeah, so we can use since to show when something started. So I've worked in I've been in my job since 2020. We've been friends since school. This is when that started. Pardon me. And number 6, while shows two actions happening at the same time or a contrast. So an example would be while he watched TV, she read a book. So at the same time, these things happen. Okay, so let's go through some of our red words here, shall we? If you have any questions, do put them in the comments. I'll be very happy to answer them. So don't worry about sounding silly at all, because there's no such thing as a silly question. I will very happily answer any questions that you might have about these, but it is quite straightforward stuff, and it's a lot of it is just kind of getting the vocabulary and kind of just practicing and learning them if you don't know any. Okay, so number 1, because. Because. Although. Although. Arrive. Arrive. Great. School. School. Very good. Okay, so here is pairs of linking words. So these connecting words work in pairs to join equal ideas. So either. So either gives two options. So you can either have cake or ice cream. So you're showing that there are two options of something. Neither. Okay, no. So either and or. So you can have either this or that. So either cake or ice cream. Neither nor. So quite a lot of people will use either instead of neither sometimes, but neither is the negation, so the negative. Connects to negative options. So we have neither the red dress nor the blue one fits me. So either or is positive, neither nor is negative. Okay. Both and. So combines two positive ideas. So she is both smart and kind. So combining two positive ideas. So both this and that. Not only, but also. So it adds extra emphasis to two ideas. So the example is, he is not only a good student, but also a great athlete. So you're adding you're adding extra emphasis to those two ideas there. Next up, we have whether and or. So this shows a choice of possibility. So I don't know whether to stay or leave. So there's a possibility that you could stay or a possibility that you could leave, and you don't know which one to do. So whether and or. Okay. So actually, before we move on to this one, we'll do our red words here. So number 1 is either. Either. Neither. Make sure to get the n sound before. Neither. Great. Both. Both. Not only. Not only. Whether. Whether. Great. Okay, so linking words for longer sentences. So these words are used to link longer ideas or sentences and often show how the two sentences are related. They usually come after a semicolon and before a comma. So therefore, so it shows cause and effect. So the store was closed, therefore we went to another one. So you see we have the semicolon after closed and the comma after therefore. So the store was closed, therefore we went to another one. So it shows the cause, the store was closed. The effect is that they went to another store. Number 2, however. So however introduces a contrast of two opposite ideas. So I wanted to join them, however, I had other plans. So there's something that stopped him from joining them, and that was the plans. 3, moreover. So it adds more information, moreover, you see. So the course is interesting. Moreover, it's very informative. Number 4, nevertheless. So nevertheless shows a contrast even though something else happened. So it was raining, nevertheless we went out. So it shows the contrast of the two things. Even though it was raining, which you would expect people to stay inside, nevertheless, they still went out. Furthermore. So, one sec, I thought... No, yeah. So furthermore adds extra information to support the previous idea. So the text was difficult. Furthermore, it was very long. So it's something else to add to it. So it's adding that extra information. Test was difficult. We need some more information. It was very long. So we can add furthermore in the middle. Make sure to put the semicolon on and the comma afterwards as well. The difference between however and but. Let me think about that. So I want, let's look at what thing we have here. So I wanted to join them. However, I had other plans. I mean, I would say that the main difference is more kind of formality based. So, however, feels like it's more formal as as something to connect a sentence with. If you're talking to a boss, if you're trying to sound like very smart, like if you're trying to like sound more formal, you could use however. Because but is quite a commonly used thing, so it doesn't sound as formal. But I can't think of any other real big difference. They both kind of contrast with opposite differences. Maybe, however, is often used in longer sentences, as it says here. So take with that what you will. I would use however in more longer sentences, or also more kind of formal things as well. Okay, good question. Thank you. And I hope that my explanation helped. So yeah, okay, so we already looked through that one. So let's go through our red words here. So number 1, therefore. Therefore. However. However. Moreover. Moreover. Nevertheless. Nevertheless. Furthermore. Furthermore. Okay, and here we have some smooth transitions between ideas. So these phrases help connect ideas across sentences and paragraphs, making your writing smoother and easier to flow. Because that's the thing, like I said with the but and however thing, there are some things that would make sense grammatically, but could actually sound a lot better, like something else could sound a lot better, you know, and there are some smooth transitions between ideas like the one we're looking at here, or like I said, like however used as more of a formal sentence. It's just good to know in which kind of sentences you can use each thing, you know, like you won't be berated if you use but in a formal sentence, but it is always good to kind of try and get the vibe of the different tones in English or any language that you're speaking at, because there's different language used in different situations. Okay, so number one, we have in addition. So in addition adds another idea or point. So the book is well written. In addition, it's very engaging. So this is very formal writing. Okay, so number two, on the other hand. So this presents a different perspective or opposite idea. I enjoy the summer. What's the opposite idea? On the other hand, winter has its charm. Yeah. Number three, for example. So this gives a specific example to explain something. So the example here is there are many ways to stay fit. For example, you can jog or swim. Okay. And notice how we're putting these connecting words before the explaining clause here. So we wouldn't say, for example, there are many ways to stay fit. You can jog or swim. I mean, you could say this. This would make sense. Let me see. On the other hand, I enjoy the summer. Winter has its charm. So that wouldn't make sense. On the other hand, I enjoy the summer. Winter has its charm. You need to put on the other hand before winter has its charm, because it's about that part. But it would depend on the rest of the sentence if you were to put, for example, before there are many ways to stay fit. If you were talking about working out, so if you were to say, oh, like I have lots of different workout plans. For example, there are many ways to stay fit. You can jog or swim. So that's if you had another clause before that you're now giving an example for. But if you were just giving an example for there are many ways to stay fit, you would then put the example after that clause and before the next one. So there are many ways to stay fit, full stop. For example, comma, you can jog or swim. Okay. As a result. So this shows the consequences of something. So the example here is he didn't study hard. As a result, he failed the exam. So as you see here, he didn't study hard. What was the consequence of him not studying hard? The result and the consequence was failing the exam. So he didn't study hard. As a result, he failed the exam. Okay, number 5. In contrast. So in contrast highlights the difference between two things. It shows the contrast between them. So the example here is the city is noisy. In contrast, the countryside is peaceful. So on the other hand, basically, here's another connecting word that you can use. The city is noisy. On the other hand, the countryside is peaceful. But yes, we could use in contrast. The city is noisy. In contrast, the countryside is peaceful. So it's showing the difference between the two things. Okay, so let's look at our red words here, shall we? So number 1 is addition. Addition. Other. Other. Hand. Hand. Example. Example. Result. Result. And last but definitely not least, we have contrast. Contrast. Okay, so what we're going to do before we go, and while I'm doing this, you can put any questions in the comments that you have, and I'll answer them before I go. But I'm going to just read through each one before we call it a day. So we have and, but, or, so, for, for, nor, nor, yet, yet, because, because, although, although, when, if, since, while, either, either, neither, neither. Oh wait, so we had either or, neither nor, both and, not only, but also, not only, but also, whether or, therefore, however, moreover, nevertheless, furthermore, in addition, on the other hand, for example, as a result, in contrast, and there you go. So yeah, I hope that that was useful for you guys. I hope that there was some there that you didn't know and that you now do know and you know how to use, as that is what we're here for. You know, it's even if you don't know them still, you can always go back to the start and just keep on practicing them. You know, it's always good to learn some new things in whichever language you're learning, but in English here, as it unlocks a new part of your speech. You know, you can now express something that you couldn't before, and that is a beautiful thing. You know, if you're just able to express one new thing a day, at least, then you are going to improve at a very good pace, because it just allows you to kind of express yourself better, and that is what language is all about. So you should be proud of yourself. I'm proud of you. And yeah, so if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. We'll get back to you. We'll try and get back to you as fast as possible. And yeah, thank you guys. It's been lovely to see some faces that we see, some names that we see here quite often, and also some names that we don't see here too often. So it has been a lot of fun as always, and I will see you in the next one. All right, guys, I've been James. We've been ISpeakSpokeSpoken, and joyfully catch you later, guys. Bye-bye.